All right. We're starting this live stream. It's happening. It's go time. Go time. I think that's such a dated thing to say. No one says that anymore. Come on. All right, we'll give it a minute. See if anybody joins us on this beautiful fall day. I don't know. It's beautiful here. Maybe it's not where you are, but we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna recap the week, you guys. We're gonna go through it, and there's so much to talk about. Hey, new subscriber, Celine. Is that how you say it? Celine? I like it. Welcome. Get in here. Hey, Catherine, my sister's on. I got YouTube. I got Facebook in the house. I do have Rumble. The thing is, like, this streaming service doesn't allow me to see the comments from Rumble. So then I have to go back and I look at the comments. So if you're on Rumble, I will eventually go back and read what you wrote. If you wrote anything, if you typed anything on your computer, I will read it. I will read it. Hey, what's up? How are you in North Carolina? Hey, Flash, what's up? How's it going? Guys, there's just so much going on. My intention is to go through Trump's cabinet picks thus far, and that's a lot. But I want to give you just like most of you guys are busy, right? You don't have time. You don't have to. Okay, I don't know who that is. That's great. Some of them, you know, some of you don't. So we're just going to run through them. We're going to give a brief description of who they are, what their background is, and we're going to address the media hype because you would think they would have learned. Like, I mean, okay. If I'm a mainstream media like news person, I would be in a time of reflection right now. I'd be like, okay, what did we do wrong? And what did we do right? And how can we readjust course? But they're not. They're just like, no, Trump's a racist. He's still Hitler. His choices are terrible. They're terrible. Everything is bad that Trump does. And I think most people at this point are like, oh my gosh, just stop talking. We don't care what you think anymore. We tried to make that clear like a week and a half ago. Obviously, it's not registering, but we don't care. But I'm highly entertained by the outrage. I love it. In fact, I should have done some kind of satiric, maybe I still will, something just of the outrage of his picks. How could he? How could he? How could he pick a guy that's done absolutely nothing? He was a mayor of a small town in Indiana and make him the head department chair of Secretary of Transportation. How could he do that? Well, that's what Pete Buttigieg is. Like, you want to talk about like incompetent people holding very powerful positions. And how have our airlines been this last 4 years? Don't even come at us talking about incompetent picks. Like, you've got to be kidding me. We have obese people running the Department of Health and Human Services. Like, what? Yes. Mentally ill people. It has been a nightmare under this administration for the last 4 years. You got to be kidding me. If you for a second are you going to complain about who Trump is picking? Because it's not going well. Okay, I don't know if you guys have it. I mean, it's been bad. It's been bad. And so, you know what? In order to correct course, you have to make major changes. And that's what we're seeing right now with his picks. Now, some I'm like, meh. And some I'm like, yay. And some I'm like, okay, well, we'll see. We'll watch and see what happens. And we're going to talk about it. Because, I mean, but the outrage by the media, have they reviewed Biden's picks? Did you guys actually like deep dive into who he has running the country right now? We've got parts falling out of the sky of planes, okay? Plane doors coming off. Because we have a guy running our airlines, our transportation that has done nothing. He was the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. Okay. That's like putting me in charge of the Department of Transportation. Like, I know nothing. It would be a terrible move. And yet that was done and nobody said anything. Everybody was like, okay, whatever Biden does is fine. But if Trump does it, I'm just so, you would think they would pause and be like, you know what? Let's take a different approach because the approach we had wasn't working. So let's try something new. But they haven't. So let's get into it. The one that just caused people's heads to fall off yesterday was the pick of RFK Jr. And I've got to be honest with you, this is one of the ones I'm most excited about. Yes, I am. I'm most excited about it. I'm going to be honest too. I came late to the game on RFK Jr. I initially wasn't a fan. Okay. I was upset that he was in the race because I thought he was going to take votes from Trump. I was like, why are you doing this? Like, this is such an important election. And here you are, like, getting third-party votes. Like, what are you doing? So I was upset about it. I was upset with him. But then I started to kind of like look into it, like, okay, who are you and what do you stand for and what are you about? And he has been vocalizing for years and defending people as a lawyer, people that have been harmed by big pharma, big corporations. And he has been dedicating his life to diving in and looking at why Americans are so sick, especially children. Why? Like, I've got some statistics. Americans right now, and we have the best healthcare in the world. We have the most advanced technology in the world. And yet Americans are sicker than ever. Like, shouldn't that just for a second make you go, oh, why? Why are we so sick? Why? 74% of Americans are overweight or obese. Infertility, the inability to have children, is higher than it ever has been. You would think with our technology, with the ability to do what we can do, you wouldn't think that infertility would be higher than it ever is. It is right now. 30-year-old men now have the testosterone that 50-year-old men had just 30 years ago. Cancer is skyrocketing. Mental illness is skyrocketing. Autism, skyrocketing. Why? Like, don't you think for a second, okay, like if we have the best healthcare and we're so advanced in our technology, what's happening? What's going on? And don't you as an American want your kids' future to be better? Well, the trend is not in our favor. It's not looking good. So we have to make changes, big major changes in order to see change, right? Doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity. And that's what we've been doing. We've been doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for different results. Well, it's time to stop doing the same thing. So Trump is making some wild, incredible, bold picks to make the changes that need to be made in order for us to see change. I'm going to show you a couple of quick videos from RFK. We'll just start with this one, and this can kind of give you an idea of what he's about.
We now have the highest chronic disease rate in the world. Today, 1 out of every 3 children who walk through his office door is diabetic or pre-diabetic. And our children are so sick and so obese that 77% of them do not qualify for military service. Our fertility levels have dropped to the lowest in the world. Teens today have 50% of the sperm count, 50% of the testosterone as American teens 2 generations ago. Little girls are now hitting puberty at 8 years old because of all the estrogen that is generated by the poisons and toxic foods. We are destroying our children.
So why? Why are we destroying our children? Who's profiting off of this? What's happening, right? I mean, shouldn't we be asking these questions? Are we not intelligent enough as Americans to say, you know what? The people that are currently running our health and human services not doing so good. CDC, not so good. NIH, maybe not so good. The food that we are eating right now is genetically engineered and it's sprayed with chemicals and pesticides, which then has no nutrients, okay? And we are eating this stuff. Other countries have banned this food. Other countries don't eat what we eat as Americans, okay? Then the pesticides and all this junk gets into our water and we're drinking it. then you know who comes along and says, you know what, I can treat you. We can take care of this sick illness that you've developed from what you've been consuming. Big Pharma steps on the scene. Big Pharma steps on the scene and starts treating you, right? With more chemicals, right? And then you're never actually cured. It's this giant cycle that we're all in right now. And if you and then that to promote the Big Pharma, science comes in. Science says, well, how much will you pay me? And we'll do a study and we'll say that this is good for you. And they're taking money from Big Pharma. Our biggest news agencies are owned by Big Pharma. They are owned by Big Pharma. When you look at, just sit down and then watch a show at night, right? I like to watch these home shows that do the flip of the home, or they're going to look for a home. I don't know. I'm into that stuff. I'm like, oh, wow, it's a gorgeous home. But in between the commercial, when the commercials come on, in between, I would say, not kidding you, at least 3 out of the 5 to 6 commercials are Big Pharma. Some kind of drug that they're telling Americans that they need. Okay. That Big Pharma is funding our media. Okay. So and our news agencies are funded by Big Pharma. And then you have this incestual cycle of the FDA, our Food and Drug Administration, right? Having people that used to be Big Pharma now sitting in the FDA and making decisions on what Americans can consume and our health, right? And it's this circle. Then once they leave the FDA, they go over to Big Pharma. And then after they're done with Big Pharma, they go over to the FDA. And now we have sicker Americans than we have ever had. And if we don't stop this cycle, it's not looking good. Something has to change. We have to make changes. Here's another one.
Most profitable asset in America today is a sick child.
Basically, our population en masse is being drugged for profit.
The money's made keeping them chronically ill, keeping them on drugs.
It's the same structure, it's the same problem, and it's all motivated by money.
One of the ways that would have to address it would be to encourage people to become metabolically healthy. We have zero encouragement. In fact, it is actually the opposite.
And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again? I did the unthinkable, which was to join the Trump campaign. This occurred after weeks and weeks of talks with that campaign, in which we became convinced of their commitment to make America healthier again. And he said to me, I want to leave this as my legacy. He's only going to be in for 4 years. This is what he told me. The best thing that he could do with his administration is to end the chronic disease epidemic. It got me into a position where I can actually do something to end the chronic disease epidemic. And we're going to start on day one. We're going to declare a public emergency.
And thank God for that. Right? Thank God for that. So now we have a guy on the scene that really does want to make some major changes to our health, to our health, to making Americans healthy again. And that's what we need. And that's what I want as a mom. And if you're a parent out there, it's got to enrage you to know that there are people profiting over your child being sick. Like, even if you're a lefty on there and you're like, oh, you're still devastated, you're still healing from this last election, it should enrage you that there are people that are profiting off of your child's sickness, off of your sickness. And that needs to stop. That needs to stop. So I am extremely excited about this pick. I think that it's going to rock our health industry, our big pharma. It's our food. We need to get a grip on our food and how they're processing our food and what they're doing to our food. And we should not be consuming food as Americans that other countries have banned. Like, hey, you can't eat that. You can't have that ingredient in your food in other countries, but you can have it in America. Like, that needs to stop now. So let's go. Right. So yay for RFK. And of course, they attack. What you have to do as just a simple observer is when they attack someone personally, like they're attacking, his, he has, I don't know, they attack RFK on all sorts of personal things because they cannot attack him for going after big pharma, right? You can't, it's always personal attacks with all of these people on here. There's no like, oh, I'm attacking you because of a specific policy. And as far as vaccines go, he is not anti-vaccine. That's an absolute lie by our media. Again, he doesn't believe that we should be having as many vaccines as we have, right? And when you look at the vaccines that used to be given just 30 years ago, it's so minimal compared to what they're doing now. And I don't know why you would be giving an infant a vaccine for sexually transmitted diseases. Like it's become like absurd. And what we need to do is just pause and start asking some questions like, why are we doing this? And who is making money off of us doing this? And are there catastrophic results taking place because we're doing this? And the answer is yes. So I'm excited. And the media and the lefties can scream and thrash and do whatever they got to do because they obviously haven't learned their lessons. But here we go, right? Another pick. Here we go. So that's Department of Health and Human Services. Next is Secretary of Veteran Affairs, Doug Collins. Doug Collins is a lawyer and a veteran who served in Iraq. He is currently an Air Force Reserve chaplain. He was in Congress in Georgia from 2013 to 2021, and he is very much a Trump loyalist. I think what we also need to note here is in 2016, when Trump won, I think, and I haven't had the opportunity to talk to him about it, but I think that Trump went in naive. I think that he went in saying, okay, this election is over. We won. And when he got in there in 2017, I really thought that he thought the country would come together and everybody would work for the benefit of the good to, advance and make America great and put America's best interests at heart. And I don't think he knew how many snakes were in the executive branch and all throughout government, how many wolves in sheep clothing were plotting and scheming against him. He kept a lot of Obama holdovers, which you don't do. You get in there and clean house, man. You clean that house so good. There's no trace of the prior owner being there. That's what you do. And he didn't do that in 2017. He didn't do that. There were constantly people trying to stab him in the back, constantly people trying to connive and conspire against him. And it was very much detrimental to all that he could have done in the 4 years that he was given. Then they launched the Russia hoax stuff with Mueller and all this junk, the impeachment, the Ukraine phone call. It was constant, because he did not have, I don't think he had the loyalist around him that he needed. And so now what we're seeing is he's coming back much wiser, much more informed, knowing exactly who the enemy is. And he's picking people that he knows will have his back. And I think you have to do that, right? Like, you're not going to go into enemy. I mean, look at DC, like overwhelmingly is swamp, overwhelmingly is globalist, deep state, people that will not relinquish power. They overwhelmingly voted for Harris. These people hate Trump. So you're going into enemy territory. If you're going to go into enemy territory, you've got to have your best team with you, right? I mean, you've got to be so, let's go, Team America assembled, everybody's got your back. You're going in there ready, armed, and let's go. And that's what we're seeing with this one. Now, you might disagree with some of the picks, but he is picking people that he believes will be loyal to him, have his back, because it's going to be a battle. You think these people are just going to lay down and be like, okay, no, it's going to be a fight, but let's go. Okay. I keep saying, let's go. Like we're going to go do it ourselves. Okay. But we will be cheering it on. I mean, that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay. Secretary of Interior, Doug Burgum. He is an American businessman, a politician. He's been serving since 2016 as the 33rd governor of North Dakota. He is among the wealthiest politicians in the United States and has an estimated net worth of $1.1 billion. So this guy knows how to make money. He knows how to be successful. And his goal for North Dakota has been to become carbon neutral by 2030. he planned to pursue this goal while maintaining a robust fossil fuel industry. He's very much about energy through the carbon capture and storage of technology to capture and sequester carbon dioxide in the state's geological formations. He supports the use of carbon dioxide for enhanced oil recovery. He supports agricultural practices that sequester carbon in soil. So he's very energy driven, and he is going to be leading the Secretary of Interior. That's Doug Burgum. Next up, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, the first woman to ever hold this position. Okay, so for all the lefties out there that are like, oh, women, Trump just put a woman, the first ever woman to be the Chief of Staff in Trump's administration. Susie Wiles, she's an American political consultant who served as co-chair of Donald Trump's 2024 presidential campaign, having previously worked with him on his 2016 campaign. So these guys know each other well. She's going to have his back. She also worked on Ronald Reagan's campaign in 1980. So this woman knows her stuff. She's been around for a long time. She's probably seen everything you can pull. And she was chosen to serve in Trump's 32nd White House Chief of Staff. First ever woman to hold a position. That's just fantastic. Next up, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio is an American politician. Most of you guys know who he is. He's a senator from Florida. He's been in that seat since 2011. He's a member of the Republican Party. He was the Speaker of the Florida House of Representatives from 2006 to 2008. So he's been in politics for quite a while. Rubio unsuccessfully sought the Republican nomination for president in 2016. He did win the primaries in Minnesota and District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. He is very, people are back and forth on Rubio because he is very pro-Israel. We've got a lot of conservatives now that I don't know what's happened, but I'm not part of them that are not feeling Israel. I always will support Israel because of my faith and because they play an incredible role as we move forward, if you're paying attention. So I don't have a problem with Rubio as long as he does put America first. I think that's absolutely essential. And we need a de-escalation, not escalation of any kind of war. So I think that he'll be very diplomatic. I think he'll, we got to wait and see, right? Some of these we'll wait and see. Next up, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Oh my gosh, this one also rocked everyone's world for some reason. A Fox News host is now the Secretary of Defense. What? That's what the media presented to you if you only watch mainstream media. But let's talk about Pete Hegseth, okay? He graduated from high school in 1999 as a valedictorian of his class. That's not easy to do. Hegseth went on to receive a Bachelor of Arts in Politics from Princeton University in 2003. While there, he wrote for the Princeton Tory magazine and played basketball for the Tigers under Coach John Thompson III. Their team made the NCAA tournament in 2001. In 2013, Hegseth received a Master of Public Policy from the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. So, wait, the Fox News host went to Princeton and Harvard? Yes, he did. Not that means anything, because it really doesn't mean anything to me, because I'm not a big fan of higher education at this point, considering that all of the higher educated people go off and they're indoctrinated, and then they just turn into zombies, and they can't think individually and have any kind of individualistic thought. Well, obviously, Hegseth was able to go. He was able to sit in at Princeton. He was able to sit at Harvard, listen to the Marxists speak. The professors profess their hate for America, and he withstood it all and didn't succumb to the indoctrination. That alone is success to me. Okay. Hegseth was the executive director for Concerns Veterans for America, an advocacy group funded by the Koch brothers, which were kind of like, but that's okay. The group advocated great privatization of the Department of Affairs. He's always been, I mean, I've been following this guy for a long time. He's always very, very concerned about the veterans. Like his heart is definitely for the veterans. Now let's talk about veterans, because they're like, he only was in like the Army Reserve. Like, ew. Well, guess what? He did see battle, and he served in battle. He was in the Iraq War, and he was also in the war in Afghanistan. He received a Bronze Star, an Army Commendation Medal, a National Defense Service Medal, a Global War on Terrorism Medal, Expert Infantry Badge, and a Combat Infantry Badge. So this guy is highly experienced, highly educated, has seen battle. He knows what it's like. This is the thing. You've got a lot of generals that got a lot of stars. And the thing about generals is you got to do stuff, right, to get those stars. And it's a lot of politics. It's all politics. It's all politics. We need someone in there that knows what it's like to be on the battlefield, to see war, to see your fellow men around you not come home with you, to experience being, your whole life is on the line, flashing before you. The people that you love back home, you might never, ever see again. This guy has been there. He's experienced it. So if we're going to, hey, let's send these guys over. Let's send 1,000 troops to Ukraine. I think this guy will be very slow and calculated on any kind of military moves like that, because he knows what that means. He understands it. And that is so important. He also has a real heart for how woke our military has gotten. And I have seen so many videos, I don't know about you guys, but so many videos of military men doing drag, doing TikTok videos, and it's turned into a clown show, and it's an embarrassment. And if you're Putin or Xi Jinping or Kim Jong-un and you're watching what has happened to our military, you're laughing. They're laughing at us. I'm done being laughed at. No more. I don't want to be laughed at. So that is the take on Hegseth, and we'll see what happens, right? I mean, it's just, we'll see what happens. He also is making waves because he doesn't believe that the women should be in combat. I personally agree with this. Being that, not to say that women can't, right? All these pro-feminist, not to say that you can't, but there's something instinctual that happens to a real man. Like, I don't know, maybe if you're not married to a real man or an alpha type male, then you probably don't understand this. But alpha men in an intense situation always tend to protect the more vulnerable. It's instinctual. So if you're on a combat field and you've got all of these alpha men out there on the battlefield, and you've got a woman out there trying to do it, their instinct is going to be to protect her initially. That's just what's going to happen. And not to say that we can't serve in other ways, but as far as combat goes, I agree with Hegseth on this. Go ahead, write me. You can scream at me. One congresswoman, I don't know who it was, but she's talking about how, she saw combat. Well, now she's missing both of her legs. I still do not think that women should be put in those positions. I don't. I think that should be reserved for men. Now, there's other things that women can do if you want to serve in the military. And let's be honest, most of our military now, most of our operations overseas and all that, it's drones. Like, we're operating drones from very far away, and a woman can do that easily. As far as boots on the ground, and to be honest, the Democrats are all about getting a draft. They want a draft, and they want to draft women. I don't want that. I don't want that for my daughters. I don't want my little daughters that I love so dearly on a battlefield. I just know. It's just a no for me. So go ahead and hate on me. I don't really care, but I agree with Hegseth on that. Okay, Attorney General Matt Gaetz. Now this one caused a firestorm like I've never seen before. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a huge Matt Gaetz person. I don't know that much about him. I know that he is a firebrand. He's very aggressive. He's not one to just kind of sit down and play patty cake or go along to get along. That is just not his nature. It would be interesting to like hear from his parents, like how he was as a child. Like I'm always curious about like what were they like as a child, because he seems like someone that just went after it very young. Like he knows what he wants and he goes for it. He is an American politician and a lawyer who served in the U.S. House of Representatives until I think yesterday. He just resigned because he's going to be going after this AG position. Hours before Gaetz's announcement, Gaetz said in a social media post, there needs to be a full court press against this weaponized government. He added that if that means abolishing every one of the 3-letter agencies from the FBI to the ATF, I'm ready to get going. If confirmed as Attorney General, he would oversee both the FBI, the ATF, formerly known as the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives. He would be overseeing our big intelligence agencies, a lot of this stuff, and he'd be going after the deep state and the weaponization of what has happened. And let's just review some of the things that the Biden-Harris administration has done. They locked up non-violent January 6th protesters. I've had one specific mom that was write me. I've been in touch with her. Her son, non-violent, not at all, actually a Christian involved in youth group, got caught up in the moment, went into the Capitol, probably shouldn't have done that, trespass, and he was thrown in jail. And he's been in jail. He was just released, but in jail for almost 3 years. Weaponized. Our DOJ, just weaponizing, going after their political opponents. What they've done to Trump, all of these bogus cases that are now dropping off because they're like, oh yeah, it was a bogus case. That should have never happened, ever. Locking up pro-life activists. There are currently people right now that are in prison and jail because they were protesting outside of abortion clinics. That's unacceptable. That needs to change. They went full authoritarian, guys. Do you remember this during COVID? Like they went crazy. They were reporting people. They were banning people. They were censoring people. This was all our deep state going after American citizens for speaking up or opposing what was happening during COVID. Like you're not allowed to speak as an American. Like that's insane. All of this needs to be torn down. And we do need a wrecking ball. We need someone that is going to bulldoze it, basically. I mean, that's what we need. You want to see change, you got to have change makers. And so I'm up in the air on Gaetz. He does seem like he is one of the people that could actually, I don't know, go in there and wreck it, tear it down, go after the people that have been going after Americans. Our FBI should never be going after law-abiding Americans. They should never be going after Americans that are just asking questions or Americans that are not going along to getting along. Like they're here to protect us, right? So that we can live freely and do what we really want to do as long as we're not harming anybody else. But it's been weaponized. It's been turned against Americans. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's a lot of people that are in the FBI and the ATF that really have a heart for Americans, that really I think it's almost a disdain for Americans. That's what I've seen. A woman I know, FBI knocked down her door because she was talking out at school board meetings. Like, what? It needs to stop. And so we need someone to get in there and just wreak havoc, basically. And if it's Gaetz, I'll be cheering him along. I'll be cheering with him, rooting for him to take it all on, expose it, and tear it down. So we'll see what happens. Okay. Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. She served since 2019 as as the 33rd governor of South Dakota. She's been a member of the Republican Party. She was a U.S. representative from South Dakota at large from 2011 to 2019. She's a member of South Dakota Republicans for the 6th district from 2007 to 2011. So she's been involved in politics for quite a while. And I've always liked Kristi Noem. The thing that threw me, I'm sorry, I'm just going to be honest, was the dog thing. And I think she wrote this having to kill a dog, a family dog, a farm animal, if she wants to say it, because she wanted to sound tough. I think that's my take on it, right? You want to sound tough. You want to sound like you can do anything. Well, I could kill a dog if I need to. And it wasn't received the way that I think she wanted it to be received. And I question the editor of the book that was like, maybe we shouldn't put this part in the book. I actually did a satire on it. Like, I don't think that should have been done. And I am a huge dog person. Okay. I love dogs. I love them. I think that dogs, there's just something about their souls. They love you regardless. It's like an unconditional love, and they really mark your life. Like if you've had a dog, and then lost a dog, and I have, and it's just what they mean to me, and to think like, okay, there's other things we could have done with the dog. Okay, we didn't need to kill it. We could have rehomed it. Just a suggestion. And so that after that, I kind of was like, meh, I don't know. I'm not yay anymore with her. But that doesn't mean that she's not going to do a good job. That doesn't mean that she's not qualified to really clamp down. I know that she was the first governor immediately when the border started opening up. She sent down the Army Reserves, man, and she backed that border. She's like, this is enough of this junk. So she is very much about the border. She's been down the border several times. My own take on this, I think that she's going to be more of the talking head, because I think that a lot of what we're going to see happening at the border, especially with these mass deportations, you're going to need kind of a soft face, right? You're going to need someone that can present the case of deportations, why they're happening to the American people. And she's going to be that face, right? The guy behind the scenes, the person behind the scenes doing the grunt work, is Tom Homeland, and we'll talk about him. And I think that he's the one with the real border experience, right? He's the border czar. He was tapped by Trump, and we can talk about him now. He is a former police officer. He's an immigration official and political commentator who served during the Obama administration. So there you go, guys. He was under Obama. So if you're a lefty on there, you should be happy. And he has served under both Trump. He will serve under both Trump administrations. He served as the acting director of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is ICE, from 2017 to 2018. Homan advocates deportation of illegal immigrants and opposes sanctuary policies. With the Trump administration, he was among the most strident proponents of separating children from their parents as a means of deterring illegal entry into the country and curbing human trafficking. Now, we have over 300,000 missing children right now that crossed our border, and we have no idea where they are. And there's actually people now saying that we need a whole cabinet formed to find these children, to find out where these kids are. And I remember during Trump's first term, the outrage. I think we had AOC just sobbing her eyes out, outside a chain link fence about children being separated from their parents. How could you? Well, a lot of these people that were bringing these children across were not their parents. They were sex trafficking these children. They were human trafficking these children. And they needed to get the children away from the people that were allegedly their parents and really talk to these kids about whether this person was in fact their parent. And Tom Homan, in all of his brilliance, understood that this was happening. Now, when Biden got in charge and Harris, they allow the kids to stay with whoever's bringing them across. And now we've got 300,000 missing children. So put that together, okay? Here's a couple comments from Tom.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Exactly. Families can be deported together. Now, I can't believe that you would support deporting illegal immigrants. Like, oh, they wouldn't even call them illegal immigrants. They're going to say that these are immigrants and they deserve to stay here. And it's going to get hot. Okay. Let's just be ready for this, guys. It's going to get extremely hot. It's going to get very tense. Okay. So just prepare yourself for that. Because the media, we know how the media operates. They're going to show clip of a child clinging on to their parent. Don't go. And it'll be Trump separates child. Trump does this. Trump does that. How could he? He is Hitler. And that's what the media is going to do. But here's the thing. If you came here illegally, you cannot stay here. You have to go back and come legally. And naturally, and of course, I think that, and they have mentioned that they're going to go after people that have committed crimes. We have over 600,000 that we were able to catch and then release, because that's what they did, which is just insane to me. Of the ones that were detained, I think the Biden-Harris administration detained around 7 million, and of that, 600,000 of them, over 600,000 of them, had criminal records. I think it was 13 or 15,000 of them had sexually assaulted someone, and about even in between 13 and 15,000 of them have committed murder just out here right now in America. They're going to find these people. They're going to deport them. Okay. It has to happen. And it's gonna get hot. It's gonna get real heated, and we just have to be prepared for it. And you have to be prepared to argue the case of why they have to come back legally. So there's that. Okay, we're gonna go quick. Oh wait, there's one more from Tom Homan. Here we go. Let's watch really quick.
I won't feel comfortable if I'm in a country illegally. If I'm in some other country illegally, I'm not going to be comfortable. You shouldn't be comfortable either, because when you enter this country illegally, you have committed a crime. You are a criminal, and you're not off the table.
I mean, and obviously, like, if you came illegally, you broke the law. I couldn't right now, if I wanted to, be like, you know what? And I do. I really like Italy. It's a beautiful country. And I'm just going to go live there. I'm just going to go do it. And I'm not going to get the paperwork. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to get on a little boat and I'm going to travel into Italy, and I'm going to stay there as long as I want to stay there. At some point, someone would be like, we need to see your paperwork. We need to see your documentation. Like, have you done the right things to be able to stay in our country? Where's your visa? Where's your green card? What do you have? What? And if I don't have that, and if I can't present that, then they would be like, it's time for you to leave. And I don't know why we can't do that as America. Like, that's what we're going to do. So, all right, we're going to go quick. Okay, well, maybe I'll spend a little second on this one. Next one, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, okay, she was a Democrat up until a couple years ago, and then she became a independent, and then she started supporting Trump. She actually was a Bernie supporter. Okay, so she has made incredible strides, and it's been awesome to watch her journey. She is an American politician. She was in the United States Army Reserve, and she was an officer there. She's a political commentator. She served in the United States House of Representatives, Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District from 2013 to 2021. She is the first Samoan American member of Congress. She started her political career in 2002 when she became the youngest woman elected to the Hawaii state legislature at age 21. So she got involved in politics, guys, at 21, very young. And she ran as a presidential candidate for president in 2020 as a Democrat. In 2022, she became an independent, and then this year she said, "I'm now a Republican." And you'll notice there's a lot of people that Trump is putting in his cabinet. They're not like far right wing radical Republicans. These people a lot of them are moderates. So that alone is different than what we've seen in the past. Especially like you're not going to be a moderate in Biden-Harris administration. Like those are far leftists, man. But Trump is composing a cabinet with various ideologies, backgrounds, which is interesting. It's interesting to watch. In 2003, Gabbard joined the Hawaiian Army National Guard and was deployed to Iraq from 2004 to 2005, where she served in the medical unit. In 2007, Gabbard completed the officer training program at the Alabama Military Academy and was distinguished and got a distinguished honor graduate. She was stationed in Kuwait from 2008 to 2009 as an Army military police platoon leader. In 2015, Gabbard became a major in a major with a Hawaii Army National Guard. In 2020, she transferred to the U.S. Army Reserve and was promoted to the rank of lieutenant and colonel in 2021. During her time in Congress, Gabbard became known for her foreign policy position. She met with the Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad and actually was very vocal against Trump. She has a strong stand against Islamic terrorism in the Middle East. She criticized also the Obama administration for refusing to call out extreme Islamic terrorism. She did back Bernie in 2016. She expressed skepticism for the military actions in Syria. She's been heavily involved a long time, and she also wants to de-escalate. She doesn't want. She's been in positions and seen a lot of what war has done, especially being in Kuwait and I think it was Iraq. And so she's more like, let's de-escalate. She's very much America first. She's more, she's not isolationist, but she doesn't want us all over the place. Okay. And so, we'll see how she does. We'll watch this unfold. I have liked watching her slowly wake up, right? And I've always thought that was cool. Okay, United Nations Ambassador Elise Stefanik. You guys know her. She's from New York. She's a representative. She chairs. Where does she chair? She is the fourth-ranking House Republican, and she's a mom. I know she's a mom. And I think she'll do a great job. I really do in the UN. And it's kind of cool because she's from New York. The UN is in New York, so her family can adjust nicely. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. You guys know who Mike Huckabee is. Special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff. Witkoff is a real estate investor, landlord, and founder of the Witkoff Group. He is very good friends with Trump. Like they've known each other for years, and Trump really feels like this is somebody that he can trust to kind of oversee what's going on in the Middle East. The National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz. He's an American politician and a colonel in the United States Army. He's serving as the U.S. Representative's Florida's 6th Congressional District. He graduated with honors as distinguished military graduate from Virginia Military Institute. He served over 26 years in the Army. And after commissioning as an Army lieutenant, he graduated Ranger School and was elected to be a Green Beret. This is Mike Waltz, serving as the National Security Advisor. He also was in Afghanistan, Middle East, and Africa. For his actions in combat. Waltz was decorated with 4 bronze stars, including 2 for valor. He's worked in the Pentagon as a defense policy director for Secretaries of Defense Donald Rumsfeld and Robert Gates. He went on to serve in the White House as the vice president's counterterrorism advisor. Waltz wrote Warrior Diplomat, a Green Beret's battles from Washington to Afghanistan. So this guy, highly experienced, highly distinguished, time in combat, bronze stars, and he is our national security advisor. Okay, CIA Director John Ratcliffe. He was in Trump's prior administration in 2016. He also did serve in the House of Representatives, Texas 4th District. He was the Director of National Intelligence from 2020 to 2021. He served as the mayor of Heath, Texas, interesting, in 2004 to 2012. And he's an acting United States attorney for Eastern District of Texas. Well, he was an acting, he was an attorney from 2007 to 2008. He graduated from Notre Dame. And he's got law degrees and a Juris Doctor and all this stuff. So that is CIA Director John Ratcliffe. EPA, Lee Zeldin. And this is exciting. I do like Lee Zeldin. And he's an American attorney, a politician, and he's also been part of the United States Army Reserve. He's a member of the Republican Party. He representative New York's 1st Congressional District. He represented the eastern 2/3 of Suffolk County, including, so it just mentions all the counties that he represented when he served. He received an Army ROTC commission as a 2nd lieutenant and served in the United States Army from 2003 to 2007. First in the Military Intelligence Corps. In 2007, he transitioned from active duty to Army Reserve, and he achieved the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. And this is Lee Zeldin. He's going to be overseeing the Environmental Protection Agency. I'm sure they're melting down right now because once Lee Zeldin communicates with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy at all the regulation, it's a lot of stuff. A lot of the regulation is going to go, and the EPA is not going to like that. White House counsel Bill McGinley. He's a former White House cabinet secretary in the first administration under Trump. He is an American lawyer, a partner in the law firm Jones Day, where he represented a federal office holders, candidates, and national organizations on campaign finance, ethics, and other political law matters. He's got a bachelor's and a master's from California State University at Long Beach. He received his Juris Doctor degree from George Washington University Law School, so he's a very smart guy. Following law school, McKinley served as the Deputy General Counsel to the Republican National Committee. And he is going to be a White House counsel to Trump. All right, guys, I'm sorry. This is so much. And I need to wrap it up. Okay, and then we've got DOGE, which is Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. You guys know who Elon Musk is. Guy oversees X. He's CEO of X, Tesla, Starlink, SpaceX, Neuralink. He's a graduate from the University of Pennsylvania. And he's recently very much got involved in politics. And Vivek Ramaswamy is an American entrepreneur. He founded Roivant Sciences, a pharmaceutical company, in 2014. And in 2023, Ramaswamy declared his candidacy for the Republican nomination for president. And I've said what I've thought about Ramaswamy before. He did come out of nowhere, and he does have a background in pharmaceuticals. But I like what he says, and we'll see what he does. Okay, that's kind of how I feel there. A lot of these people, there's a lot of talk, but it's like, what are you going to do? So we'll see. We'll see if the talk leads to action, and that's what my hope is on all of that. Oh my gosh, that took forever. That took like 54 minutes, you guys. Oh my goodness. And there's probably more nominations, like more coming down right now that I don't even know about since I got on here. Okay, a couple other things that have happened this week as we recap the week. We've got media layoffs. The New York Post, not New York Post said that the ratings challenge CNN is reportedly set for a major bloodbath. This is New York Post saying, with boss Mark Thompson expected to lay off high-priced on-air talent as part of a wide range of layoffs. And I heard just before I got on here that Chris Wallace has in fact been fired from CNN this morning. The cable network, which lagged behind in rivals MSNBC and Fox News during last week's election coverage, will implement layoffs that will impact hundreds of employees across the organization. This is what Puck News said. So we're seeing the media that has lied to us and gaslit us for years starting to implode, and I'm here to cheer and be so happy about it because I'm just done. I have so many family and I have so many friends that have been watching this junk. They have watched the mainstream media. They have been fed this garbage and they have been deceived because of it. And it drives me crazy. So I'm happy. I am thrilled to see ratings plummet. Also, MSNBC primetime viewership has plunged 54% since the election. The Comcast-owned cable news channel, which drew a daily coverage of 1.1 million views through October, saw its audience shrink to daily coverage of around 700,000 on Wednesday. Yes, because you know what? You deserve it. You've been lying. You've been deceiving people. You've been misleading people. You're a bunch of propaganda funded by the DNC, and I'm happy to see you implode. I really am. And let's just watch the satire I made this week in case you missed it. Welcome, everybody. Get in here. Let's just talk about it. Okay, let's discuss. Well, that did not go as planned. Thank you all for gathering. We're gonna have to make some changes. It turns out that the American people are they're done. They're done being gaslit, and we're gonna have to let some of you guys go. You know, they say that if you tell a lie repeatedly over and over again, that people they start believing it. And so that's what we were doing, and they don't believe it. So ratings are down. They're really, really down. Like, I don't even think anyone's watching us anymore. So like I said, we're gonna have to let a lot of you guys go. Thank you for lying, and you did your best. I guess what they want, the American people want, is for us to just present the news and then let them decide what to think about it. I know, it's terrifying, but I think that's what we're gonna have to do, or maybe not. I don't know, guys. So that's it. That's all I got. You guys can just disperse or stay. I don't know. I'm just gonna go take a nap. Good. Go take a nap. Oh, you've been lying to us, and I'm just done. I hope, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just too hopeful that we see a change, that there's a course correction, that there's, okay, maybe we should stop lying to them. Maybe we should just present the news. I mean, there used to be a time where they would just present the news, right? There wasn't any spin. There wasn't any like, okay, now let's talk about how he's Hitler, or let's talk about now how they're all fascists, or they're all, like, it was just, hey, they had a meeting here. Take it as you will. Trump had a huge rally at Madison Square Garden, in other news and just continue to go. But it's Trump had a rally in Madison Square Garden, and a rally of Nazis gathered there 70 years ago. And so, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's another Nazi rally. Yeah, let's go with that. There are a bunch of Nazis gathered to celebrate Trump in this final week of election, and it's a spin, and we don't need it. We're done with it. Just present the news. Okay, you want to see your ratings go up? Present the news. Anyways, so we'll see what happens. We'll see. I mean, who knows? We might see big major companies get sold over these next 4 years. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think like they've got to be really reassessing how they have handled presenting the news over the last 4 years and the repudiation that the American people sent on Tuesday. Like it was a repudiation of we're done, we're no more. And so when you reach that point, you either stop selling your product or you start selling a new one, because that's where we're at. Okay, Senate Minority Leader. We have a new leader, you guys, and there's mixed reviews on this. There's people that are upset. I was hoping for Rick Scott because I know that he is a Trump loyalist. He's had Trump's back. He really likes Trump. Trump has good relationship with Rick Scott. And he did not get it. It was a closed ballot. Like it was a secret ballot. We couldn't know who voted. And first of all, that's my thing. Like there shouldn't be any secret ballot. We sent you to DC as a senator or whatever, and we want to know how you voted. We want to know, I want you to vote a certain way. And as your constituent, you represent me. Okay. You don't just do your own, you don't represent the lobbyists or the big pharma or the, the big military industrial junkies out there. You represent me, and this is how I want you to vote. And we don't get to see how they voted. And I think that needs to change. It needs to be an open ballot. We need to see it. So secret ballot went out and they voted for John Thune. So he's making promises. He's saying that he's going to have Trump's back. He's saying that they're going to get these appointments through quickly, and that all of these Trump's cabinet will be approved quickly. And we'll see. We'll see. Right? It's all talk. Everyone's talking. It's all talk. That's everyone until we start to see action. So that is what happened. John Thune is a senator from South Dakota. He has served in the House of Representatives and now in the Senate. He has held political office for 27 years. He's good friends with McConnell. I'm sure McConnell is thrilled. And here's the deal. Okay. 27 years is a long time. Okay. And it was never intended to be this way. And I initially got involved doing what I do because my dad, he ran for Congress years ago and more than qualified. And he didn't have a shot because the incumbency, I didn't know this, but if you're an incumbent, you have a 93% chance or higher, it's probably even higher now, to be reelected. So once you get in to the swamp, it's hard to be ousted. Like it's almost impossible to oust anyone that's an incumbent. It's a very difficult thing to do. And once these people get into office, whether they're on Republican side or Democrat side or whatever, they start to get lobbied. They start to get talked to about, hey, I would really like you to do this for me. Big pharma starts to talk to them. The agriculture starts to, the big corporations start to talk to them, and they start to wine and dine them. They start to go out to the fancy dinners, and they really forget why they even went to Washington, D.C. They forget why they're there. They forget who their representative. They lose touch with the people they represent. And when I saw this, I was like, this needs to stop. Like, this needs to stop. It has to stop. And I am a huge proponent of term limits because of the financial backing that these incumbents have. How can a little guy get in? Like, honestly, it needs to stop. Our founding fathers intended for people to go, to serve, and then to go home. It was never intended to be a career. It was never intended to be a lifelong service as a politician, ever. And I would love to see some major changes happen. And you know, Republicans are all talk about, oh, we want term limits. We're going to term limit. Well, let's see it. Okay. You've got the House, you've got the Senate, you're going to have the presidency. Pass term limits. Put your money where your mouth is, Republicans. Let's see it. So, and just so you know, there are other people that are just as good as the person you love. There are. They're probably too good to run, actually. You got to have a lot of ego. You got to think you're pretty hot stuff to represent so many people. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents. And primary these people, man. Primary them. Time and time again, I have seen people that are so much better than the people that we send to Washington that lose in the primaries. So be wise. Like, literally, just because it's a name that you know, don't automatically vote for it. Research that person that's primarying them. Get to know why. Ask them why. So that's my 2 cents. Okay, lastly, because we're over on time and it's not good. Biden met with Hitler in the Oval Office this week. I can't even believe it happened. Here we go. Watch. It's just shocking.
President-elect and former president. Thank you. Donald, congratulations. Thank you. And looking forward to having like we said, smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So
good.
Welcome
Thank you
back.
very much. And thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. And a transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Jim.
You're welcome.
Geez, that is a roaring fire. Did you guys look just really quick? I mean, this is a giant fire.
President-elect and former president. Donald,
sorry, that's just totally a side fact. But I'm like looking at that fire. I'm like, wow, that thing is blazing. Okay, anyways, so yeah, Trump, not Hitler, but Trump met with Biden. And I'm sorry, if you were gaslit into believing that Trump was Hitler, again, shut off the mainstream media. They've been lying to you. And even Biden, no, you know, the concern of him being a fascist dictator, here he is shaking his hand.
Make sure you're accommodated.
Okay. Did you see this? Did you see this?
President-elect.
This is a handshake.
Former president. Thank you. Donald,
would you shake Hitler's hand? Would you do that? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. I would never shake Hitler's hand. You've been lied to. And I know it sucks. It's just it's terrible. It's terrible when you realize that you've been taken advantage of. That people have been lying to you. They've been manipulating you. They've been working your feelings into a frenzy that you found yourself waking up with a shaved head. I get it. It's tough. So you can either continue to just spiral down the rabbit hole of mainstream media and believe all the garbage they spew at you, or you can say, you know what? I'm going to start to look elsewhere. I'm going to start to just go to places that might just present me the news. Or they might present a side I disagree with, and then I'll listen to the side I agree with, and then I'll make my own decision. Like, that's how it should be done. So, yes, they met. They congratulated each other. I mean, Biden said, congratulations. I look forward to having, like they said, a smooth transition. Welcome back. I think that they're being very friendly to Trump. The Bidens are, because they're looking for a pardon for Hunter. That's my personal take on it. I've heard people that are saying, no pardon, no pardon. And then I've heard people say, no, let's pardon. I'm still figuring it out where I stand on all that. After seeing a lot of the junk that was on Hunter Biden's laptop, the guy needs Jesus, and maybe some prison time will do him some good. I want to see the bad guys get punished. I want to see, gosh, all of the junk that they've done these last 4 years, and you know it. Like, if you've been paying attention and you're not watching mainstream media, and you know about the Russia hoax, you know about the various impeachments, you know about the people working behind the scenes, you know about COVID, you know about the origination of COVID, you know, I mean, when you realize all they've done, you're hoping for a little bit of justice. You're hoping that somebody goes in there and just drags out the bad guys, and the bad guys get what they deserve. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to get a pardon or not, right? We don't know. We'll see. I do want him to pardon all the January 6th people, the nonviolent people. Oh my gosh, those people, yes, full pardons. Anyways, all right, you guys, I have talked too long. Gone almost 11 minutes over almost. But there was a lot to cover. I mean, the entire cabinet, and there's probably more that have dropped so far. I don't know. Do we have a press secretary? That might have been announced while I was on. If there is, let me know. I'm looking forward to that one. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. I'm thankful for you. I see a couple of my Patreon supporters on here. You guys are awesome. You continue to support me through the censorship, through the ups, through the downs, through the highs, through the lows. And I'm so thankful for you guys. If you'd like to support me, that's kind of how I continue to do what I do. You can go to Patreon. I'll drop the link here, and you can give $1, $2, $3, whatever you feel led to give. It keeps me doing what I'm doing. It allows me to buy more wigs, and lighting and cameras and phones and all the stuff I need to keep doing this. And so if you'd like to do that, that would be awesome. I would truly appreciate it. And yeah, God bless you guys. Wishing you a wonderful week. We'll watch all this play out. I do think it's a little too quiet, if you know what I'm saying. So there's always that in the back of my head. I was talking to him. I was at the gym earlier this morning, and I ran into another mom, and she's like, it is too quiet. And she goes, is it too quiet because we won big and we also got the popular vote? Or is it too quiet because they're plotting something? And I said, that's a great question. And I guess we'll just find out. So anyways, I'm thankful for you all. And yeah, just keep praying, keep trusting God above everything, guys. Like I said in my last stream, if you're a Christian, this is your opportunity to share more than ever. And it all comes back to Jesus. It all comes back to that we live with eternal purpose, that this moment here is just a moment, but eternity is forever. And knowing that your heart belongs to Jesus and that you're walking with him is what really does matter. It matters more than all the politics, right? And so I feel like this is a moment for us to really share our faith, to be bold in our faith as we move forward. And I just see this whole thing as just a reprieve, a moment of grace where we as Christians can share the real truth. And that's what's most important. So I always remember that. And I always want to make that like known whenever I can, because that's really what this is all about. I think that conservatism opens the door to get you kind of thinking outside the box. But at the end of the day, it's Christianity that leads to the ultimate truth. So, all right, you guys, keep the faith, keep praying for our country, and have a great weekend. And we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.